Hi everyone, it's A Ticket to Christ. We're still looking at lessons from the Psalms. We're in Psalm 63. O God, thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry land, in a dry and thirsty land where no water is, to see thy power and thy glory, so as I have seen thee in the sanctuary. Because thy loving kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise thee. Thus will I bless thee while I live. I will lift up my hands in thy name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise thee with joyful lips. When I remember thee upon my bed and meditate on thee in the night watches, because thou hast been my help. Therefore, in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. And let's pause there. What is jumping out at you? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What I'm hearing is someone who is craving the presence of God as you would if you're very thirsty. If you were in like a desert place, or if you were parched, maybe you ran and you needed water badly. And so he's likening it to a thirst. He's likening it to longing, right? Where there's no water. And that is very powerful imagery of how he sees his need for God every day, right? And this psalm David wrote when he was in the wilderness of Judah, it says here. And so depending on the season and time in your life, maybe this is how you might be feeling. Or when you're waking up in the morning, or if you're going through something, or maybe you didn't get a chance to spend quality time with God and you're just craving his presence, like you would a glass of ice cold water, right? And he's thirsty, he's hungering to see his power, God's power and his glory. So as I have seen thee in the sanctuary. And notice how he views God, that God's loving kindness is better than life, better than his life. Is that how you feel about your life? That the presence and kindness of God, the loving kindness of God is worth more than even your own life. And you see why David is called a man after God's own heart. You see, even though he was a very flawed man, just the type of love and devotion and heart that he had for God. I don't think in the Old Testament there's anybody who you can point to as an example of someone who loved God with a passionate, devoted heart as David. You just see that love for God, He talks about, he's addressing now his soul is satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise thee with joyful lips. So God is the only one who could satisfy his soul. But the satisfaction he gets from God is the type of satisfaction you would get from a rich food, from something that really nourishes your body, right? Then he talks about, he praises the Lord. He is thinking fondly. He's looking forward to later tonight when I'm lying down. I'm going to be thinking about you, God. I'm going to be meditating on you in the night watches. So sometimes people throughout the night, they wake up, say if you're waking up in the night, in the middle of the night, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, or 12 midnight, or whenever you wake up, rather than allowing your mind to go to this problem, that problem, this situation and that situation, do what he did. It says he meditates on God. He thinks about him. What does he think about? How God has been his help, right? And because he's meditating on God's power, his glory, on God's kindness to him, he is in that type of communion with God, and he is rejoicing in the shadow of the wings of God. So you see here an intimacy and a connection, kind of like somebody who is, when everything dies down, when everybody's asleep, when everybody went home and he's by himself, this is what his heart is focused on. This is who his heart is focused on. And this is what he is craving. That's the picture you're getting here from David. And let's read on. Since this is a short one, we can just read it. He says here, my soul followeth hard after thee. Thy right hand upholdeth me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword. They shall be a portion for foxes. But the king shall rejoice in God. Every one that sweareth by him shall glory. But the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped. So David didn't take things into his own hands. He didn't retaliate against Saul, who was very envious and jealous of him and was trying to kill him. He was running for his life. But he brought to mind that he was reassured by the fact that God was his defender. And he knew that there was ultimately would be an end to his enemies. God would put his enemies to naught, right? And so he was able to let that go in the hands of God, for those who seek after, who were after him. And I think that this is a good a way to understand how to put to rest the things that are, if people are after you or they're, you have enemies, how to entrust it, the situation in God's hands. David's soul followed hard after God. He believed that God's right hand upheld him, and that those who sought to destroy him, they would be destroyed, right? So he had faith in God, in God's deliverance, and in God's provision and protection, right? And then he's resolving that he's not king yet, I don't think here. It says, but the king shall rejoice in God. Everyone that sweareth by him shall glory. So he is taking, I think, comfort in the promise of God that he would be king, and taking comfort in what type of king he would be one who rejoiced in God, and those who swear by God shall glory, but those who speak lies shall be stopped. So you see, he is meditating on the truths of God's word, clinging to God with all of his heart, mind, soul, and strength, different watches in the night. And he is reminding himself of the promises of God and God's provision and protection against his enemies and against challenges and difficulties. And so this is a really good one to just meditate on, today, throughout your day, whatever time that you find yourself quiet and alone and just with your thoughts. So beloved, that's it from me from Psalm 63. I hope this encouraged you and blessed you in some small way. Take care.